honor to Lori, our wonderful house band, and wonderful musicians. Did you take that deep breath at the end of that? Did you take that breath of surrender? When we speak of surrender, we speak of yielding to the presence of God within us, the next stage of our own unfolding. We're not surrendering to a reluctant deity. We're surrendering to that light and love and luminosity and brilliance and life, capital L life, that is the presence of God that is never absent at all. And so we deeply bow to reverential alertness and surrender like never before on a daily basis. That's the Donna DeLore and crew bringing us that vibration and frequency, which is a powerful lead-in to our theme of the month, if you've been following this particular theme, and that is the single-eye approach to life. That is coming to an understanding that is we have a reverential attentiveness, a reverential alertness, a single-eye approach, understanding that when the eye is single, as it states in Scripture, the body is full of light. As we have a divine intentionality to become greater versions of ourselves as a way of living, always on the edge of growth, development, and unfoldment, and not allowing stagnancy to enter into any habit in our life, but always available to the next great aspect of our being that we are surrendering into, then something happens and we find ourselves on the right side of the law. What does that mean? That the universal presence, which is infinite and by law corresponds to the nature of the song that we are singing. And if we're singing the song of unfoldment, singing the song of participating in our own unfolding, singing the song of participating in the next stage of our own evolution, then we are matched by that frequency, and we find ourselves in the realm of ever-expanding good, which is another name for heaven. As Scripture would say, as thy eye is single, thy body shall be full of light. And we've been working with this particular theme over the last few weeks, coming to an understanding that there's at least two levels of understanding of that particular phrase. One, as our eye is single and our body becomes full of light, there is a dynamic lightheartedness that begins to take over our existence. And that lightheartedness has nothing to do with circumstances, situations, people, places, and things, or very little to do with it. It is just that we've opened ourselves up and had and courted spiritual insight so that we feel light, we feel lighthearted, which opens us up to seeing that we're surrounded by a field of infinite potential and infinite opportunities to express and to manifest the glory of the living one through and as us. There was a time in which there was a powerful superstitious thought. I call it superstitious. A superstitious thought that used to say things like, opportunity only knocks once. Now, can you fathom that particular idea that for all of eternity, you have one opportunity? For your entire life, this presence of God is infinite and timeless, dimensionless, spans everything, but you only get one opportunity? And that opportunity, once it's gone, it's forever lost? No, that was a superstitious thought. Opportunities are surrounding you right here and right now, all the time, for you to become more you, for you to become an artist of the soul, for you to open yourself up to inspiration, that's the Word of God flowing through you, to absolutely manifest the beauty and the love, the harmony, the wholeness, the generosity, the absolute peace on earth, as it is in the heart mind of the infinite. Opportunities are everywhere. When the eye is single, everything lights up. And you begin to see even in the crevices of what appears to be darkness, there's luminosity, that the darkness and the light are both alike to the presence of God, and that the darkness shines as the day, the darkness being the ooze of undifferentiated wholeness that hasn't manifested yet, and the light being the unfolding manifestation of the all that is. You're surrounded by this field of love and beauty and intelligence. And then there is the literal understanding that when the eye is single, the body shall be full of light. And every week I said I would give you a personal experience of my own foray into this luminosity. And this morning I think about January of 2021, this year, in which I was preparing to teach on the Zoom, of which we've all now become accustomed to, teaching on the Zoom technology. And as I sat to meditate before the presentation, when I opened my eyes, I was blind and I could not see. I was surrounded by light, infused, cradled, embraced. The light was so bright that I could not see in this particular dimension of time and space and depth. And I called in Lee Simon Brown and the Reverend Kathleen McNamara and says, I can't see. I'm surrounded by light. And there was a moment of trepidation for a moment. And then I realized I was in this dynamic field of luminosity. It was just, wow. I'm giving sound effects because it's wordless, but it was giving a lot of activation, a lot of information. And when I looked at Reverend Kathleen and when I looked at Lee, I could see like a fountain of light inside of their being. It was like a fountain of light. And I had the realization again of the meaning of we are the light that lights up every man, every woman, every being that comes to the planet. We are that light, the same light that was found in Jesus the Christ, Yeshua ben Jo, same light that was found in Kuan Yin and Gautama the Buddha. That light, that luminosity, I could see it. And then after a few moments, there was a moment of seeing in this dimension. And this particular experience is one of the few experiences in which this happened, in which I was around other people. The other times it happened, I was mainly by myself when it occurred. But this time, there was a couple of witnesses that were assisting me as this was going on. And I say that to say that when we hear, the body shall be full of light, it's not just sweet metaphor. It's not just prose and poetry. Your being is light, you see. It's luminosity. And everyone has their own unique activation into this realm through spiritual practice, you see. As we fall in love with our spiritual practice and we have insight and revelation, our inner luminosity becomes more and more radiant and we begin to see quite differently. And so what we're doing, as the topic would indicate, we are building our inner infrastructure. Now, we know about physical infrastructure. We know about organizational infrastructures. But there is an inner spiritual infrastructure that's developed, that body of light within you, based on soulful intentionality, reverential alertness, deep spiritual practice. That is the practice in which you absolutely fall in love with the practice and fall in love with the insight in the same way as the sacred musicians may fall in love with their instrument and then fall in love with catching the celestial sounds and bring it into manifestation so that individuals can hear it. They become disciples of excellence within their own way of revealing creativity. As you fall in love with your spiritual practice, become a disciple of your practice and the insights and the encounter that comes forward, you begin to develop a spiritual infrastructure that allows you, like an astronaut, to carry your atmosphere everywhere that you go. So you're not leaning on the atmosphere of the world. You're not leaning on externals for joy and happiness and peace and security. You are carrying your own atmosphere everywhere that you go. It's a divine inner infrastructure. You think about deep sea diving. You think about the individuals that put on that apparatus and go deep into the ocean, and they are not squashed or crushed because the environment inside is strong enough to withstand the vicissitudes of the ocean. They're carrying their oxygen, and they're carrying that inner power with them. That's an infrastructure. You want to be strong enough to carry a spiritual infrastructure because there's so much going on in the world of phenomena at this particular time in human history, and there's stuff always going on in human history, but we're at a point where there's a tremendous amount of fear that's moving through the human condition and exacerbated by individuals telling you how much you should be afraid of this, that, and the other. You've got to develop your spiritual infrastructure so that you can withstand the vicissitudes of that which is passing through the human experience and not be touched by it, so that you can maintain your consciousness of discernment. So you're able to discern that which is safe and not safe. You're able to discern that which is not for you and that which is for you, while you are standing in the awareness that this power that is within you is greater than any seeming power of the world. You don't want to take a misstep. You want to have such a spiritual infrastructure that you're able to absolutely walk in this world. But be aware that the joy, the peace, the happiness, the security, those are all states of consciousness. There's nothing in the external world that's going to make you secure. Nothing! Your security is a state of consciousness. It's a state of safety within you that you must develop through spiritual encounter, through spiritual practice. And so how do we do that? As I think I was inspired this week as I was teaching the activated life to the individuals on Tuesday night, and I was reminding them that one of the first things you want to do is you want to return to joy. You want to get a real sense of what brings you joy, and you want to get a real sense of that feeling tone of joy and love. When you're in love, there's no time. When you're in joy, there's no time. When you're in peace, there's no time. You want to hearken back to a moment of being in joy, in love, in peace. And then you want to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I in joy? Who am I in peace? Who am I in love? Who am I? And you'll begin to notice that as you ask yourself from that particular expanded awareness, that you are not defining yourself by past experience, you're not defining yourself by mistakes, you're not defining yourself by trauma. You're defining yourself as this timeless, energetic, spiritual idea shot from the eternal, you see. And as you begin to ask, who am I in this space? You come back to the awareness that you are a timeless being that had no beginning and had no ending. You didn't create yourself, but you're an emanation of the all that is. And then you say in substance, light my path, that I may know the steps to take to anchor who and what I am in time. So from this expanded space of who you are in joy, who you are in love, who you are in peace, light my path right now, that I may see the steps that I may take to manifest the timeless in time. Now, as I am doing that, as we are doing that, we are establishing a spiritual infrastructure that's allowing us to live in the expanded state, but not denying that we have an incarnation, not denying that we have a home in time, but we remember what Dr. King said. He said that we have a dual citizenship. We have a citizenship in eternity and a citizenship in time, but our home is in the eternal. And so as we're expanding our awareness, we bring the eternal into time through that particular kind of questioning. And then this is what we discover. We discover that we are transmuting our post-traumatic stress to post-traumatic strength. Something happens. The stress becomes strength. We begin to be aware that sometimes the price we pay for expanded consciousness is intensity. Sometimes the most negative things that you have ever had in your life was the price that you paid for an expanded awareness of that which can't be hurt, harmed, or endangered within you. You think about the birth of that which is called Christianity, and you think about the immaculate conception held in the mind of God that got caught in a metaphor of the Virgin Mary giving birth to Jesus, and you think about all the way up to the crucifixion, a very bad day for many people, you see. But that birthing a resurrection philosophy and a resurrection spiritual practice, you see, you think about Nelson Mandela in jail for 27 years of his life, giving birth to the building of a society based upon forgiveness rather than on hate. You think about His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, that had to escape from Tibet or be killed by the Chinese government. And now you have a Meta-Tibet where that teaching is all over the world. You begin to see that some of the most intense moments were prices that were paid for expanded consciousness, you see. And so we begin with our spiritual practice to come to understanding that our post-traumatic stress can be turned into a post-traumatic strength when there is a focus, when there is a practice. And then you become lifted from the fundamental understanding of karma, the fatalistic viewpoint of karma. There used to be a moment where individuals thought that karma determined your destiny. People used to think, oh my God, my karma is to be poor my entire lifetime. This is my incarnation. I was born into this caste, and this is how it's going to be. And every avatar that came forward taught that that was not so. We've come to an understanding that karma is simply a starting place. It never determines destiny, you see. Your destiny is determined by your character is determined by your attitude. Once there is a shift in attitude, once there is an opening to insight and revelation, your character is infused by truth, and then you have a whole new destiny so that you can be born in any starting place in your life, whether it is poverty, whether it is disease, whether it is trauma, whether it is abuse, whatever the case may be. When there is a whole soul practice, there is a shifting and an embracing of the destiny that was within you. And then you'll begin to understand that when people see you, they might be talking to ghosts. You know what that means? That as you're growing, developing, and unfolding, sometimes people are talking to your past, but they're not talking to you. That your spiritual practice has birthed so much insight and revelation, you're not who you used to be. You're not who you were 2 years ago. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not who you were 10 years ago. And they may come up to you and you'll be listening and you say, who are they talking to? Oh, they're talking to a ghost. Something that has gone by. It's not here anymore. And then you'll add to your practice for you not to talk to ghosts. For you to so make yourself available to having a divine inner infrastructure. And seeing without eyes and hearing without ears. That your entire being becomes about seeing that which is real and eternal. So as you're walking through life, not having to say anything, walking through life, not necessarily doing anything, but your presence and what you're looking for and what you're looking with becomes a mighty blessing on the planet. So when you see people, you're constantly seeing people for the very first time. We were doing that this morning a little bit as Reverend Julie was sitting there, as Lee was sitting there, and as Reverend Kathleen. It's only about 6 or 7 of us here in the sanctuary, but it feels like millions. Anyway, we were like waving at each other. Hey, hi, hey. You know, like for the first time. You know, just seeing each other for the first time every time. You begin to walk in life that way, so that you're not seeing and talking to ghosts. You're actually seeing the individual without losing your discernment. That is, if someone is out of alignment with being in integrity, with honesty, or whatever the case may be, you can pick up on it. But you're always available to the understanding that behind every human aberration, there is a spiritual aspiration. And so the intensity that I've just described in terms of Yeshua ben Joseph and His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Nelson Mandela, and we can go on and on, Viktor Frankl, we can go on and on and on about deep, intense moments that people have gone through that gave birth to the absolute coal being transmuted into the diamond of their life. What's trying to be born right now on the planet? This is intense stuff going down right now. Polarization, this is intense stuff going on right now. What diamond is trying to be born right now? Somebody has to know this. Somebody has to see it. Somebody has to call it forth. Somebody has to have a vision. Somebody has to articulate it. Somebody has to have a strong spiritual infrastructure to be able to say that the best of times and the worst of times is giving birth to a time that has never existed before and is coming forth now through us. Somebody has to be strong enough to not see ghosts. Somebody has to be strong enough to see the new. Somebody has to be strong to see that which hasn't happened before and call it forth as it is happening right now. That is you. That's us, you see. To stand in that kind of dynamic and not just a sweet, a syrupy, happy talk, but to get down in your practice until you fall in love with the encounter. Even if it's just a moment of stopping every day and getting a sense that you're more than your body. You're more than your emotional body. You're more than your mental body. You're more than the body of affairs. That there's something about you that has never, ever, ever tasted death. Never tasted loss, limitation. Until that becomes the activity of your awareness. And then you will walk in this world differently. I'm telling you, people might think you're a little bit odd because you're not caving into fear and worry and doubt during a time in which there's so much upheaval happening. Instead, you're yielding. And even though you may not be able to describe it quite yet, you're yielding to that which is becoming diamond-like during this time of adversity, polarization, fear-mongering, and all manner of things that are going on the planet. But you, with a spiritual infrastructure, holding your own atmosphere. You hear what I'm saying? Are you catching this, guys out there? Are you catching this? Your own atmosphere, carrying it like an astronaut. And then you'll discover the meaning of the world didn't give you this joy, so the world can't take it away. The world didn't give you the peace, so it can't take it away. Now, there inevitably are interesting days. There are days where we fall, we trip, we make a mistake, sadness comes. There are days, you see. But we get back up. It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up, you see. Not how many times you miss, but how many times you get back up. Embrace yourself again. Oh my God, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Who am I in the joy? Who am I in love? Who am I in peace? Who am I? Please, presence through law, light my path, that I may see the actual steps to take, that I may bring who I am in joy to earth. And then we hear our steps are ordered by the Lord. Our steps are ordered by the great law of life. We're compelled into right action. Karma is just a starting point for a new destiny to emerge as our attitude is lifted into the consciousness of oneness in the absolute power and presence, changeless, always here, never, ever compromising its nature. God is not sometimey. The same yesterday, today, and forever. It caused Dr. Ernest Holmes to say on page 33 of his textbook that God is always God. That never is there a cosmic famine. God is always God. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. That thing within you is causing a quest for discovery, causing a quest for soul recovery, causing a quest to know yourself, to remember, and to walk with such a powerful infrastructure that the winds of this world will blow, and you'll hear from the Bhagavad Gita, the winds blow it not away. Water wets it not, fire burns not, wind blows it not away. When you name it, you can't find it. When you find it, you can't name it. The presence. Where does this begin? Today, I return to joy. I return to love. Who am I in this? Who am I? Light my path that I may manifest this as an embodied being. I'm not trying to be an ascended master. As we teach here, we want to be descended masters. We want to bring it on earth through our body. We want to bring it through our voice. We want to bring it. Let me see. Close your eyes for just a moment. Take a moment and return to joy. Think of something that brings you joy right now. Doesn't matter what it is. Just breathe into the joy now. And with every breath, let that joy expand. Think of a moment of being in love. Time is stopping. Feel the love with every breath as an expansion. Think of a moment of divine peace. Breathe into that. Let it expand. Let your awareness expand of peace and love and joy. Just feel into that. Now ask yourself, who am I in love? Who am I in peace? Who am I in joy? Who am I? Who and what am I in it? Oh. Now simply say, set this in motion. Set this in motion right now. Light up my path that I may see the steps to take to manifest who I am in joy. Let my steps be ordered by the great law of life. You're setting something in motion now. Now feel a moment in your life in which you celebrated anything. It could have been your birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be a birth of a family member, it could be, just feel the vibration of celebration right now. And allow yourself to celebrate that which is coming forth through your asking, light my path, celebrate that it's already here. Celebrate that it's happening right now, even before the physical eye can see it, even before there's any evidence. Celebrate it now. Be a celebrant of the joy, the peace, and the love personifying itself as your very life, the abundance of the all good showing up. It's celebrate as if it's happening right now, because it is. Whew. Now, as celebrants of the divine presence, watch this individual dance with agape. Dance with the ray of agape. Feel the frequency of a celebrant. That's Arlo and Nicole Osmansky. Get on down, Arlo and Nicole. It's a lovely day. She's bringing her up right. A spiritual community that says, dance. She's understanding spirituality. Come on. Okay, Arlo. Okay, Nicole, you can chat them up a little bit and say thank you for showing up in the big way, and you too. We're about to play something right now. Maybe somebody can video you, showing you dancing with our spiritual community, because just watching somebody dance, just watching an act of compassion, watching an act of generosity, does so much to our nervous system, just watching it. But what about when you're actually doing it? You see? Here we go. I think we're thinking about a higher love, aren't we?
Amen. Higher love. God's love lifting me higher.
It's lifting us. Oh, look at that bass. That's John Hart. It's Curtis. David, we need David's monitor on. Christian Klikowitz.
God's love is lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. Keep it up, quench my desire. I'll be at your side forevermore. You know God's love keeps lifting me higher, lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me higher, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher.
Now once I was downhearted. Disappointment was my closest friend, but Spirit came and it soon departed, and I never showed His face again. That's why God's love keeps on lifting me higher, higher and higher. You know God's love keeps on lifting me higher, higher and higher. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me higher, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher. God's love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me. God's love lifts me higher, higher.
Great. Practitioner. God's love is lifting us higher. Higher. Feel frequency and the vibration of you celebrating you. A unique expression, emanation of the Most High. Here's a clue. If you want to know if you're complete on the planet, you just take a small mirror, put your nose under it, over it. If it fogs up, you ain't through. You're just getting started in this plane. I invite you to extract your attention from the world and to turn within with me right now. As we have moved our body temples, we come into a sacred, prayerful shavasana, where we are becoming still, quiet, receptive, and available with real communion with the presence. We lift ourselves higher into the field of gratitude. We're so thankful and grateful that we exist and that we get to commune with each other all over the planet at this most sacred moment. In this consciousness of gratitude, it becomes easier to recognize, to recognize the presence of love and beauty and intelligence that's everywhere. And to feel that we're never separated. We're one with this presence. One. And from this consciousness of oneness, I have the privilege of speaking the vibrational word for each and every one of us. I call forth divine freedom and spiritual liberation. I call forth divine wellness and well-being. I call forth divine wisdom and transformational knowledge, creative intelligence, moving through us in such a way that it orders our steps as divine guidance in a language and in a way that we can understand something is opening up through our soulful intentionality. And we are becoming more available to the holy broadcast that is everywhere. Grass is singing songs. The flowers are smiling at us from God. The trees are bowing to our divinity. The ground upon which we are standing is holy. We see it. We feel it. Even now. Feel it. I want you to take a moment of feeling. Bracket opinions. Feel the presence.
Prepare me. To be a sanctuary. 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 For you. For you. For you. I just want to thank you.
into the frequency of gratitude.
Ramadasa sa say so Ramadasa sa say so Ramadasa sa say so. For this miracle of love, in this miracle of love, in this miracle, prepare me with thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
I'll be living.
Be living.
Sanctuary
Of your soul. Feel it. Feel the power of this community prayer that's embracing the entire globe now.